Dear parents, a very, very good evening to each one of you. And here, yet again, a very important and relevant topic for our children, for ourselves as parents. That is, we are talking about the sex positive parenting. So, this is something very urgent and important as we have with us a life coach. I will talk about her later, but presently she is really bringing this in front of us. While she's a life coach, she's into conscious parenting, but she has chosen this topic because the data is really important and urgent for all of us to be present to the facts which are coming in front of us just very shortly. So, Rose, I welcome you from Bangalore, and I welcome Meeta, who is a communication coach, and here she has joined as a parent, and we'll be really discussing something very sensitive. So, I invite all parents who are watching this that this is really sensitive, but this is important. That is why we are discussing, and anything which you see as a new view can be spread as an awareness to the parents, and not everything can be like consented to, but there are going to be facts which will contradict our previous information which we are having, that things are going a different way and in an alarming way. So Rose, thank you so much. And I would ask you to take us through, like, what do you mean by sex positive parenting?
Okay, so let me start from where I come from, Naheed and Nita, and all the parents who are listening. So I, like Naheed said, I am a life coach, and I deal with issues that people are facing currently in their life, and most of them are adults. I have a few clients who are 16, 17, 18, who are trying to find what they don't want to do in life, kind of thing, but most of them are adults. And most times when I deal with these adults, what I see is that a lot of their problems have originated in their childhood, and I see that a lot of it is to do with their self-esteem and things like that. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this, because this is one major gaping gap in our country, in our society. So every time there is a scene which depicts some kind of intimacy, the entire family becomes uncomfortable. Everyone starts looking here and there, don't know how to deal with these situations. Every time there is a young mother who is breastfeeding her child in a joint family, there is a brother-in-law, father-in-law, and other people in the family. She has to always go into a corner room, close her room, cover herself, and feed. And this kind of shame has been attached to a lot of things, and that is why I wanted to talk about this. And that's why I do a lot of my work is about conscious parenting. What is actually parenting? Parenting is about developing a child who's functional in his adult days. It's not about supporting the child forever. Children cannot be supported forever. They have to be made to stand on their own feet and become functional in their life. So that's where I come from. Before I get into any topic, I wanted to talk about the data in our country. So this is not research that I've done. It's research done by WHO and a lot of other research organizations. They say this is right, that every second child, 50% of the children in our country have had some kind of experience with sexual abuse. And that's where I'm coming from. 53% of these children are boys. They're not girls, they're boys. And a lot of times when boys face this kind of thing, it is not even addressed. It is not even considered a problem. It's not even seen as a situation that something needs to be done about. And that's where I'm coming from. And a lot of times, 75 to 80% of the time, the perpetrator is not someone the child doesn't know. It's someone within the child's family or school, or someone that the child trusts. He or she is someone within the child's life, and that is where I'm coming from. And we have a lot of work going on in our country in terms of protecting children, how to see that, we install all these CCTV cameras and have all kinds of mechanisms to see that. I'm not denying that all this is not necessary. Of course, some bit of that is necessary. But the best thing that we can do for our children is to empower them, is to teach them the right way. Instead of thinking that if we keep our children innocent, by not telling them anything about sexuality, they will stay safe. They do not stay safe that way. The problems happen when children don't know what to expect and what they can do about in that situation. And that is the problem that we are facing today. So that's where I thought I should come up with this talk. And that is sex education. Now, there is more to this.
So, Meeta, sorry, I'm interrupting you. Meeta, do you see this as a genuine issue or a problem area? Like, do the children, because I see my 17, 14, we never have these talks, and even I have a taboo. That is why I was interested in session also. So, Meeta, what is your opinion with having children of like young adults? So, what do you say?
Naheed, with my experience of living in a very orthodox community, and on the other hand, having traveled all over the world, I see such a stark difference between the way we raise our kids and the kids that are raised abroad. The most important part of our lives is to protect them physically and mentally. And as Rosanna herself said, as Rose said, that it is our duty as parents to teach them. Knowledge is the key. Knowledge एक हथियार है, वो हथियार है जिससे हम अपने बच्चों को इनोसेंट ना रखें. हम इनोसेंट रखने से डिससर्विस कर रहे हैं उनके लिए. अगर उनके पास ऑलरेडी ज्ञान होता है इस बात का कि ये सारी चीजें हो रही हैं दुनिया में, तो वो सतर्क रहेंगे और अपने आप को होशियार रखेंगे. And that is what Rose is saying. And the kind of figures that she has given are alarming. And I am astounded at the fact that the men and the boys are 53% of boys have been the victims of all this. And so the duty obviously lies with the parents as their first guru. I definitely agree with this. Yes, Rose.
So, Amita, I will correct you a little bit in this. We think that the Western world is much more open and much more accepting. Of course, the Scandinavian countries, Netherlands, they are an exception. But otherwise, even in I have clients from US and abroad who have gone through these, and they are not very old. They are like just just the previous generation. And parents, even today, even in the Western world, find this as a problem. So let me tell you where I come from.
Yes. Absolutely. What you are saying is true.
Yeah, I as a parent, I knew that I had to do something about sex education for my own children. But frankly, I did not have, and I did not know how to go about it. I did not know how to handle it. But I still have done something, very little things, right? But I know that no parent or no teacher can handle this without the right kind of training. And that is what is lacking in our country. Parents, even if they have the best of intentions to teach their children sex education, they don't know at what age, what to be done, how to be done, and how to approach the whole topic. What is a real problem? Is it about teaching children about the actual process of copulation? No, it's not just that. It is the whole mindset about how we approach relationships, how we approach the values, how we treat others, everything, all this encompasses. And it starts right when the child is 4 years old. When we start teaching the child body parts, we teach them this is your hand, this is your eyes, this is your nose. We don't teach them what is their penis, where is the penis, where is the vulva, where is the vagina. We don't use these words at all. And even when we use these words, we ourselves are like shaken, we don't know how to handle these words. And children see that, children sense that. And children sense there is some kind of shame attached with these words. There starts the problem. When a mother is going and sitting in some corner and covering herself to feed her baby, and what is the other children in the family learning? There is some kind of shame attached to breastfeeding. Breastfeeding has nothing to do with sexuality. But what does the child learn? Child learns that some parts of woman's body is sexual. It cannot be shown. And these are the messages that we are sending. So there is a step-by-step process how we can teach. I will go briefly into it if you are interested. Like I said, I'm not a sex education teacher, but I think all of us need to start somewhere, and having some kind of understanding as to how this goes on will be a starting point for parents and teachers to start. And from there, they can go about actually equipping themselves how to handle this topic. So if you're up for it, we can go
Sure,
ahead.
Yes,
definitely.
yes,
It
we
will
would
add
like to know the
value to
steps.
our audience. Yes.
Yeah. So
And
like I
just to
said,
add in here, we have done in Smart Native the kindergarten. So we used to do small activities like the good touch and the bad touch. And
exactly.
whenever like somebody touches you inappropriately, so you have to go and speak up to your mom. The first person should be your mom to be looked around, then your father, then your grandmother, and then your teacher. You can come back to school. So these were things, but I'm very interested to know, like, how do we do this?
Yeah. So very well said, Naheed. I think most schools do this about teaching children about good touch and bad touch. But when you directly go into good touch and bad touch, we are already telling the children that there is something wrong. While the whole thing has to be approached with a lot of positivity, and that's what is sex education actually about. It's not about telling there is something hush hush, there is something bad, there is something very dark in that space, and that's why you have to be careful. You're putting a lot of fear into a child's mind, but that's not the approach. That's not what is required. So I have made a little bit of notes, and it starts with like I said, 4 years, when we are telling body parts and how we speak up these words like breast. I mean, of course, children don't have breasts, so we can't speak, but then it goes on to who is a boy and who is a girl. How can we differentiate between a boy and a girl? So they come to know that there are some aspects to a boy's body which is different from an aspects to a girl's body, which differentiates. And then the boys also learn these words: vulva, vagina, which a girl has, and penis, which a boy has, and things like that. And then around the age of 5, we talk about, have you seen girls playing with dolls? Have you seen boys playing with trucks? And what do you understand? So we have these open conversations. And right there we start, gender stereotyping, that we start in, like, it's a very cultural thing, but it's important for children to come out and say, why should girls play with dolls? I can play with dolls as well. And, that kind of gender sensitization, which starts when they're very young, 5 years and 4 years. And then we start asking questions like, have you seen babies, cats having babies, dogs having babies? How do you think they have babies? And it's a very naturally spoken topics. You don't make it very complicated, very complex, and very difficult for it. It's simple words. Have you seen kittens? How do you think kittens were born? And then you start approaching the topic of a male cat and a female cat. They have babies, kind of thing. So it's done in very simple words, very, very short conversations, simple conversations, not to complicate it for the child. Then around the age of 6 or 7, you start the concept of personal space. This is my personal space. People can't enter my personal space without my permission, right? So if you want to hug someone, you have to ask, can I hug you? Or do you just want me to high-five you? Can I take your pencil? You have to teach children this concept of, this is someone else's, this is yours, and you have to respect that space. You have to also be able to protect your space. So there starts your thing about asking for consent, So the boys and girls are taught that while my space is important, someone else's space is also important. So it starts like that. And that's when you also tell children as to who can touch you, who can't touch you, and who can touch you in your private spaces. So your mother can, your doctor can, and why they can, why they cannot. And in very simple words, children are very simple. They like to understand things in the most simple concepts, terms as you can. Then around the age of 10, and we have been seeing that a lot of children are exposed to a lot of sexual content by this time, because they have a lot of access into internet. So you start talking about conception. What is conception? How does conception happen? And all those things. Around the age of 15, and I'm talking in a very broad way, there is a deep curriculum into this, how you address it, how you go about it, and all that. Around the age of 15, you talk about contraception. Now, like I said, all the children, their bodies develop at different stages at different times. A 15-year-old, every 15-year-old's body doesn't develop the same way. So their attention to something that is being said will come at a different time, and you have to respect that. So while a certain 7-year-old may understand personal space and consent and all that at 7 years, some other child may need reinforcing at 10 years or 15 years or 18 years. So it's necessary that you continue this at different times and keep on reinforcing it, so that at some point it gets into them and they understand it. Yeah, so you start talking about contraception, because around the age of 15 they start having these small relationships. That's also the time you start talking about controlling behavior. That's also the time you start talking about porn. Actually, you can start talking about porn much earlier, but this is the time that some children have had some exposure to porn. And you start talking about um, the things that they see in porn. Is it natural? Are all the bodies that you see in a porn film normal? Do you think normally people are like that? Or do you think, and you have these open conversations in the class, children discuss among themselves. So it can be something like, how do you think these people have this kind of bodies? Do you think they can perform for such a long time? Do you think that is normal? And you see all their accentuated parts like their breasts and penises. Do you think there has been some surgical process which has augmented these things? And all these ideas, you can children start thinking about what is natural, what is not natural. And this is also the time children get a lot of exposure to social media. So a lot of so these predators who are lurking on social media, how they can protect themselves, what to expect when a conversation is going in a certain way, how it may turn, what should the child be aware of, all these questions. And also the very important thing about sexually transmitted infections. And a lot of times children don't know some of these infections like AIDS. I'm forgetting the names. So a lot of this
STD.
is like, yeah, STD. Some of these infections are like 80% of the population has it. And children, if they don't know about these infections, then they just get it so early in their life, and some of them leads to cancer and other complexities. Also, this is the time around 15, 16 is a time to teach children about healthy relationship and unhealthy relationship. So what is healthy relationship? What is unhealthy relationship? So, when you already put these ideas into a child's mind, the child knows when they're in a wrong relationship. Okay, this is not helping me. I need to move out of this relationship. So around 16, 17, 18 is the time you start talking about the difference between love, difference between lust, difference between romance. What is the difference between these? And children are very, very simple and pure in their minds. They really come up with nice thoughts, and this is the time to form their ideas and thoughts about these things. And this is what is positive sexual parenting. How can you prepare your child for out there? It's like when you're taking your child on a beach, you tell your child to put the sunscreen on. That's how you protect the child. You don't say no, don't go on the beach, you will get hurt.
Yes.
That's how. Yeah.
So quickly, it's we have really extended time also, but it was so important. So see, somewhere we think that India is still way behind, and like the foreign world, teen parenting is a problem. Teen parenting, I mean the teens giving birth to children, and then again this is a big problem there I don't have the exact data. So but here also the awareness and the exposure through internet is really going viral. So this is the time. And what my view is, as a parent, if I am still hesitant, or if I still have a block and I see that as a area which I cannot deal it so naturally or powerfully, I can take like experts help also, the children participating and going in a natural conversation. But here I want to quote, I also have some incidences in my childhood, but the very vague ones, and like I was like in a pretty, I think God I was lucky enough to sense that it was a bad touch. So I'm saying here in this platform so that this is actually true. Until now I am very incomplete with that relative uncle of mine. So now here one thing, I had an ex-student of this school. So in ninth standard, the parents came for counseling, and he was collecting the undergarments of the building. This is a real time problem which came to me, and because I was not an expert. So see, things are happening around us if we'll be really sensitive and watching.
Yeah.
That so we
That
cannot
child
hide
needs
away
help.
or shy away. So
Exactly.
Meeta, anything you want to ask Rose? You can please
I
go ahead,
don't
please.
have no, because it's been a very comprehensive step-by-step training. But what I would like to request you is to have another session, Naheed, at any point of time where we can talk of the misinformation that the kids are getting from the internet that is readily available.
Yeah, this can be the, I had a topic in mind, the dark side of internet, and I wanted a psychiatrist also, or Rose, these are real time, at present the grave, this attended. So this is a very good suggestion that we'll be coming up with this topic, and I request you to please take it. And Sahil
because
Trivedi
children-
has joined us, that it's a psychological issue, collecting undergarments. So Sahil is also with us. She's a clinical psychologist. So very true. So Rose, anything you want to give as a message? And it was a 15 minutes session. We have already exceeded 21 minutes. So please go ahead. Your
so,
message, please.
Yeah, the children have very less risk control. They don't know how to think that they may get a sexually transmitted diseases and control. So the only way we can manage that is by putting this information as much as possible into their mind, that when the time comes, they will do something positive about it. So that's what I wanted to tell.
Thank you so much. And very soon we'll be announcing the next session, the dark side of internet, thank you really. And the parents who are watching this, we would be loving to give you some pointers of today's talk, the survey data which was just shared. So stay connected, and I would like parents also to come over to this platform. We are welcoming you, and even the children, so that this is a real time an interaction which is happening. And believe me, this is going to be with the mentors and such powerful people sitting in front of me. This would be a power packed interaction. So I welcome everyone to please contact any one of us, and we'll be happy to have you here. So thank you so much, and
Thank
see
you.
you again. Thank
you.
you so much.